Live or live? Checking confirmation. It looks like we're live. I'm waiting to see it. Yes, there we go. Hey, happy Thursday, everyone. Adam Ruff, and let's get to product design office hours. So if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. Hey, Matt, see you in chat. Hope you're doing well. Ralph, good to see you as well. I've only got about 2 more weeks of wearing this thing, and then hopefully I can move my wrist around normally and be back to normal. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. This is my weekly stream to help answer questions, chat and share things with designers, get a little bit of project work done, and have fun. So if that sounds good to you, that's what we're going to do. So let me remember to change my screen so I don't start talking about something that's you can't see. All right, less mystery. There we go. Do a little fade. Boom, there we go. First thing that I'll just show before we get to questions. We'll do questions first, actually. In terms of me just sharing, there's a question board. If you have a question that you want me to answer, head over to the link in chat. Either add your question or take a look at some of the questions that people have asked and upvote. I'll take like 3 or 4, depending on how quickly they go. Take like 3 or 4 of the top voted questions and answer them live. You can go ahead and do that while I'm doing a little bit of sharing. All right, first thing I want to share, because this is something that I learned relatively recently and I finally put it into practice, which I'm happy about. Ralph, put it in the questions and then upvote it. And I'll look for your question too. You get special attention if you are if you're in chat as well, definitely. So this pattern is a best practice for accessibility. And imagine if for a moment that you're using a screen reader to visit my website. And on each page, the screen reader starts saying like UX Adam Ruff, work, about, contact, Twitter, Dribbble, YouTube, LinkedIn. I had to think for a minute. AngelList. Oh, I gotta get my AngelList plugin. Before it went to good afternoon, right? As someone who's looking at it with their eyes, a sighted user, you kind of probably gloss over this. Great, it's in the periphery. You'll check back, but you start right in with the content. Same on the other screens, right? You dive into the content. Ignore this. Well, to help screen readers do that, there's a pattern called skip links. And I'll just demonstrate it by using the tab button on my keyboard, which is essentially how a screen reader user will interact with the website by using a keyboard or a finger on mobile touch. So right now I have the URL browser bar selected. I'll hit tab. Boom, look what just happened. This little thing popped up. It says skip to main content. And if I hit return, all it does is basically put this in focus. Now you can see the focus is going, it skipped all of this stuff, right? Normally, if I'm just tabbing through, I'd have to tab through all this. Blah, 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 content. And I'll show it works on another page as well, right? I'm up here, I tab, skip to main content. Now I can just start right in with the content. I don't have to hit all of that menu bar stuff. So skip links, check it out, and think about applying how you can apply it to your site or referring it where you work. Make sure that you have that built in so that when people are accessing your site through screen readers, they can skip past all that repetitive stuff. Yay for skip links. Also, if anyone has any better luck at styling skip links, I found that it was a little bit difficult to style this. I added basically some color and an emoji, and I think I played with the text size a little bit, but I wasn't as able to do super fancy things with this skip link. Alrighty, next thing, what are we at? 6:05. Let's give we'll do 5 more minutes of sharing, and then we'll dive into questions. That'll give people a chance to get in and upvote. Next thing, just a really quick plug. I'm planning on kicking off another UX design contest soon. This contest, I started these contests as a way to help designers practice diverse skills, to get practice presenting and talking about the work that they do, and being able to walk away from the contest with something that they could feature in their portfolio and have a concise story around. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, hop on over. I'll paste the link in chat. It's really simple, uxdesigncontest.com. You can sign up and then you'll get a heads up as soon as I launch it. I'm planning for the next contest to be one that uses this tool, UXPin. I haven't used it yet. There's a lot of strong interactions that you can prototype with this tool. So I'm going to be thinking about a theme that will be able to make use of UXPin's powerful interaction prototyping. For example, typing something in and hitting enter and all that good stuff. So whether you're a UXPin expert or you're like me and maybe it's been a while since you've used it, I think I probably kicked the tires on this a while ago, but it's been a while. So I'm essentially new user. So yeah, in future streams, I'll probably spend a little bit of time just highlighting the tool. Excuse me. So I'll just show you as I'm learning how to use it, and that can hopefully save you some time as you participate. So that's that UX design contest and UXPin. I'll plug that in chat. Boom. The next thing I will share is something that my coworker Chad found, and I think we might play around with this as a way to fill in some of the gaps. So on the Angels Venture team, we have angel investors and fund managers who have basically deals. They have the opportunity to invest in a startup or a company, and sometimes those are very early startups, so we don't have a logo for them, and so they might enter in a company name. I'm trying to think of what's a cool. Let's just do. Oh, here we even start typing A. It already gives you a bunch of suggestions. So like, let's say someone is raising some money for Adobe, even though I think they're a public company, so it doesn't really make sense. But just imagine back in the day when Adobe was a startup. Was it ever a startup? I think it must be, right? There's a logo. Maybe get some other, like Bird, the scooter company. I saw I don't know if they launched it for sale or if they were just giving a preview, but I think they have a moped-like feature, Bird, right? That's the scooter transportation startup. Cool, you can get the logo. We'll come back to this because I was just like, oh, what does it show for me for my website? And I'm like, oh no, nothing. I was like, oh, why is that? And then I tried UX design contest, and I was like, that has something. So I've set up some information on the UX design contest website that I haven't set up on my own. So I think that'll be a fun, tiny project that I might get to today. And then last but not least, I see I've only got a minute left before questions. There's this Sheety API. Wonderful, wonderful name. Did I share Clearbit yet? All right. Let me share this first. Sheety API. It's a very simple way to turn a Google Doc into an API that you can use. Now, this is more like for quick and dirty prototyping. This is probably not something you're going to be wanting to run anything super serious on, but for those quick prototypes that would use a database, like getting information from a database and then displaying it, and check out Sheety API. This might also be a fun future design contest. Gets a little bit more into development, which hasn't been a big hit in the past for contests, but if it's something super easy and super cool, maybe we can get it to happen. Alrighty, let's take a look at some questions. Time is up for submitting questions. I'm going to refresh. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to do a quick scan and do a few upvotes as well. Oh, what are some of your favorite Sketch plugins? Cool. Build confidence. User interview stuff. Sketch plugin. Favorite survey tool. Productivity app. Okay, we've got like we've got 4. These top 4. Let's go with these. So first, Matt asks, what are some of your favorite Sketch plugins? What are some of my favorite Sketch plugins? You know what I would love? I'd love the ability to put in text and like capture this question. So when I'm answering it, it sticks. That's what I'll do. Here we go. We can figure out our own workaround. Question 1. Boom. There we go. Now it's in chat. Now if someone comes in, they can see here's the question that we're answering. I feel like there's a huge delay in being live right now on YouTube. I don't know if I have my setting differently. Hey, Venagu. Like, we'll see. Venagu just popped into chat. I see hi, Adam. We'll see. What's the perceived delay? Is it fairly quick? Does it feel real time? All right. Let's answer the question, though. Favorite Sketch plugins. I'm going to open up Sketch. Let's just open up the stream, the kind of doc that I've had open for streaming stuff. And we'll take a look at some. A few seconds delay. Interesting. Okay. I'll play. I know there are different options for YouTube in terms of please use a keyframe frequency for, but my stream status also says bad. I don't know why. Oh, you know what? I do have Wi-Fi on. Hold on. I forgot to turn Wi-Fi off. This might help. Let's see. Because I'm hardwired into my router. All right. Plugins. So I've got more than a few plugins. I like trying plugins, and don't get scared. Like, this doesn't mean I regularly use all of these plugins. I don't go through regularly and like get rid of plugins that I don't use anymore. So let me highlight a few of my favorite ones. Runner is huge. So let's get that one. Let me show you what Runner does. So let's find an example here. I've got these things. That's not a super great example, but it'll work. Okay, so let's say I want to quickly select all artboards. So with Runner, my keyboard shortcut is Command '. So I pull Runner up and I go Artboard. And now I can see in the menu, select all artboards. Boom. So now I've selected all the artboards. Let's say I want to align them vertically and come over here. I do have a keyboard shortcut, but for visual sake, let's just hit this button. Oh, there's a lot more artboards up there. Okay, so that kind of, we'll undo that because that kind of messed things up. Other things that it can do. Let me grab, here, I'll grab this startup list. Cool, let's ungroup these. Let's say I had, oh, this is, go. Let's say these things are all messed up, right? Like that, okay. select them all. You could do things like align left, I think. Arrange, here we go. So you can actually do it right through Runner as well. And then what's cool about Runner is Runner allows you to use other plugins very quickly. For example, I have this distribution plugin. So let's say I want to distribute these vertically, evenly, and I want 16 pixels in between each of the items. Why did that not work? It worked down here. Something this is like the first time that I've seen that fail. Anyways. I'm trying to think of other things that I use Runner for quickly. Installing new plugins. So I hear someone says, "Hey Adam, do you have such and such plugin?" No, that sounds cool. Tab, install. It's a plugin about naming, name organizer, symbol organizer, sort me, like all this stuff. Cool. So Runner is the first one. And let's flip back to Chrome. We can get a link for that one. It's the same URL. Sketch Runner, back to Sketch. I mentioned, and I kind of showed the distribution. It's called Distributor. So let's make a link. So Runner, right, is Sketch Runner. The distributor, I'm just going to type these names in because you can have, once you have Runner, then you can type in distributor, right? You don't need URLs or to search anything else to find these other things. Distributor is one that I like. Rename it. Where is it? Down here. Rename it. I really like. Find and replace. I use a lot. So let's see. Do I have text anywhere? Let me find some text. Here we go. We'll just make something. So I have this text. Whoops. That's not going to be very easy to see. Let's make it dark and really big. And let's say, what do I have? I have a list of animals, right? I have dogs. Dogs are everywhere. Yay, I like dogs. And I'm working on this project. And then, guess what? Working on this project, maybe this is a client project, freelance client project, and they say, oh, you know what? We decided to pivot, and now it's all about cats. Oh no, it's all about cats. Oh man, all my sketch files feature dogs. What am I gonna do? Well, actually, I don't even think I need to select any of them. Tab, find and replace. Find and replace text. Hey Raj, we are answering questions right now. We're in question phase, and I'm showing off a small handful of my favorite sketch plugins: Runner, Distributor, and now Find and Replace. So now I'm going to find dogs, and I'm going to replace with cats. And I'm going to find it on the current page, and let's see what happens. Hooray, 10 layers renamed. That wasn't the thing. That wasn't the Find and Replace. Here it is. I did the wrong thing. Here it is. This looks more familiar. So what happens when you have too many plugins and you don't get rid of the ones you don't use. So let's do it again. Find dogs. Ooh, that's not good. It doesn't let me tab through. It's not accessible. Replace with cats. We're going to do this current page. Anywhere in the layer. Replace all. Boom. you can imagine for a highly complex thing where you're trying, maybe you have some placeholder text, find and replace can be a huge productivity boost and save you a ton of time. So find and replace. Runner, distributor, find and replace. I'm trying to think of any other ones. There's some that I use a handful of times when I need to. Oh, I will say this image optim one. So this one's really important. What happens with image optim is when you export a PNG, it will automatically kick it up in image optim and start crushing that image to make it smaller. So let me show you. Let me show you image optim. Search, search, search. Here we go. Oh, there it is. It's too late. There is a sketch plugin. Other versions. Sketch, sketch, sketch. All right, we have to back up. It's poor, not the best website, right? Like there's a sketch plugin, but I don't see, oh, here it is, hiding in this little blue thing. There we go. Here's the plugin for sketch. Highly, highly, highly recommend this one as well. All right, so those are a handful of the sketch plugins I use the most. In the interest of time, I'm gonna cap it there. If we wanna look at more sketching plugins later, let's do it. For now, let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question from Anonymous, an anonymous questioner. How do you build confidence when joining a bigger team as a product designer? So this is an interesting question. I should zoom in on these so they make sense. So they are very visible. I'm wondering if this person means, how do you build confidence? How do you build personal confidence when you're joining a bigger team? Or how do you build, I'm trying to think of another way to read it. How do you build confidence when joining a bigger team? I suppose it could also be, a bigger team could be a team of non-designers, right? Other people that you're working with, and you want to build confidence in the design process or in product design, because maybe you're the first designer. So I think there's a couple different ways to answer this. Any thoughts in chat? Like when you read that question, how do you build confidence when joining a bigger team as a product designer? How do you read that? Is this a person who is joining a larger product design team and they're looking for actionable tips for how they can feel and present themselves as more confident? I'm gonna let chat weigh in because I think the group will have more and better intuition on that than I would. Ralph says, to me it reads, is that this person isn't confident in design decisions to share it with other designers. Interesting. Okay, cool. So I think that basically aligns with my initial gut, is that this person is joining a larger product design team. They want to build their confidence as a product designer working with other team members. So I think my answer to this question is not going to be laser specific to product design. I feel like confidence is one of those things, at least in my personal experience, is something that you really can fake it till you make it, right? Being confident can start with acting confidently. So think about what acting confidently as a product designer looks like. And for this particular person in a bigger design team, I might encourage this person to really spend time paying attention and observing what do the most confident designers on the team, or the person who, the questioner who I'll just call them anonymous, who anonymous sees as the most confident designers on the team, what are they doing? What are their behaviors? How are they? It may be their language, like what language are they using? How much time are they spending listening versus speaking? Where and when are they sharing things for feedback? That's kind of my biggest tip. I mean, I think building confidence is all about being confident. And when you're looking for ideas about being confident, let's say there's no team. Like, what are a couple things that this person can do? Right off the bat is things like making proposals. When you're proposing a design, saying, here's the design proposal, you may say, trying to think how to frame this. I'm trying to think of like a low confidence way of presenting it and then a high confidence. So there was actually a fantastic Twitter thread about this, about language. It's like, hey, what do you think about this design, right? Is okay, great. Or, hey, here's my proposal for a design. If you have any feedback or comments, get them to me by noon tomorrow. Raj is laughing. I don't know what Raj is laughing about. Hopefully not me trying to be this like on the spot place of confidence versus not confidence. It's basically about like stating things. What are some questions that make it seem like people are not confident about things? I feel like there are some triggers, some things that when I say like, oh, it seems like this person really isn't speaking from a place of confidence. Raj, I also think feedback needs to be specific, not just say, hey, I need feedback on this. I've learned not to be as vague. Yes, that's great. Yes. So in my example, maybe I was a little bit too vague. Yes, a clear sign of someone who's maybe more experienced and has more confidence is, hey, I'm sharing this with you. I'm looking for the following feedback specifically. Is there anything that confuses you? Do you see any opportunities to make the information hierarchy even more clear or even more strong? Also, I'm not looking for feedback on this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, being very clear and specific about feedback. I like that. That's a good one, Raj. Other than that, I think it's speaking up, listening, and speaking up when you have a strong opinion. I think there's also like this experience piece of also picking your battles, like kind of checking yourself and asking like, is this really going to make a big impact? Is this potentially bad for users, bad for customers, or bad for the business? Is this likely to have a big impact? Yes, then those might be the kind of battles to express your concerns. Listening, thinking before speaking. Yes, it's okay to pause for a moment, right? That's probably another big thing too about presenting yourself confidently. I know this is something I struggle with a lot, and this is what I really enjoyed in Toastmasters and other public speaking stuff that I've done, is having someone count the number of filler words. And so those kind of filler words, simply pausing, and it can feel scary at first and awkward, but simply pausing, you often come off as a much more confident or polished or experienced speaker as well. So think about slowing down and pausing and thinking. And also being confident enough to say, hey, that's a really interesting question. I'd love to think about that a bit. How about I get back to you tomorrow? Also not feeling the pressure to give an immediate answer. I think that shows confidence in and potentially self-awareness too. If someone's asked you a question that you're like, oh man, I have no idea how to respond. Cool, take some time. Communicate that you need the time. All right, I think I'll keep thinking about this one. I'll keep this one on the back burner. I'll keep my eyes open for that Twitter thread. I may have bookmarked it that has some language things. You know, don't use this, use this. Don't use this, use this. That could help. All right, let's move on. Ralph's got a specific question about user interviews. If you get wants and needs in user interviews, but no pain points, is that fine, or are pain points a must too? Okay, so this is, Ralph's talking about, it sounds like a generative type of user interview. So Ralph, in this situation, you may be talking with people and trying to get ideas about problems to solve, right? You're looking about like, hey, I want to solve some problems maybe in this particular space, right? I want to improve the experience at the movie theater, right? Or I want to improve the experience at a restaurant or public transit or whatever it is with the software, right? And I think your questions that you ask in the user interviews have a lot of power to help kind of control and steer where the conversations go. So I'm going to start with that. I know it's a little bit off of the question, but I'll just start there saying, when you're thinking about your user interviews and you have specific goals in mind, for example, if you wanted to discover pain points with, I've been experiencing a bunch of pain points with the company that picks up trash for us on a weekly basis. Today was trash day, so it's fresh in my mind. Availability heuristic running. If I wanted to find out pain points with other people's experience with this company, then I would ask them questions like, tell me the last time you had a problem with, this company. Tell me the last time you were frustrated with this company. I think the first question that I suggest is probably the best one. So number one, keep in mind that the questions you ask can help shape what you learn from the interview. So I know that didn't answer Ralph's question exactly. I'll ask him that. I'll answer that one as well. I just wanted to give him a tip. If he was trying to get at pain points, but he wasn't seeming to find any based on the questions he was using, try to use a more direct question to elicit the pain point type of stories. And it's possible that he did do that and people said, I've never had a problem, right? That's also possible. Okay, great. Then you can go into, okay, what would make it since it's so good, what would make it even better, right? So I think that segues into Ralph's question. Maybe you're talking with people, they don't talk about any significant problems or big problems, but you do get some language that people are talking about how it could be better, or they wish it was even more like this, or they wish it also did this. Really, those like wants and needs, it's just the other side of the coin of a problem, right? A problem or a pain point. So I would say to Ralph, if you just have a list of wants and needs at the end of user interviews and you don't have a good understanding of pain points or problems, then there's probably a little bit more work that you want to do. And why I say that is because just because someone wants something and you take that down, oh, they want cool, stylish trash bin, right? And they need the trash delivery person to play nice music as they drive through their community, right? Those are great. The next question to ask and dig in is why. Why do you want those things? Why do you need these things? And specifically, you can ask in ways like, how does feature request A help you achieve the goal that you said was really important to you, right? How does colorful, customized trash bins help you with your goal of having everything in your home match a certain aesthetic, right? So I would say, if you're only at the wants and needs, there's an opportunity to dig deeper. The other answer, the classic Adam Ruff product design mentor answer is, number one answer is always depends, right? It depends on context. I have no context. Who knows what the scope or the context of this project is? Maybe you're just trying to quickly brainstorm a bunch of feature requests or ideas to roll with, to play around with and see if anything sticks. Cool. That could be fine. Or maybe there's something that you've heard a bunch of times with enough different color, and you have some inside experience as well, and you can, it's obvious, you can guess fairly accurately why someone wants or needs this thing. It's very obviously connected with a common sense pain point or problem. So what's the TLDR? I feel like I just rambled on and on about that one. When people are starting to talk about feature requests or things that they want a product or service to do, start asking why. Dig deeper. Sometimes it will take a few whys to try to get to what is the problem they're solving, or what is the key benefit that they're getting from that. All right, Ralph, let me know if I didn't answer that one sufficiently. Hopefully there's something in there that helps you out a little bit. And we'll just take this last one here. What is your Sketch plugin for measuring elements and text? Wait, hold on. Ralph's got a follow-up. Someone said wants and needs could be considered symptoms. Do you agree? Interesting. Yeah, I think that aligns very closely with what I'm talking about, right? Wants and needs are at the surface layer, and asking why helps you dig down underneath to get to the cause, right? These are symptoms. They want these things because there's this unmet need or unresolved problem. Yes, so I would agree with that. And I think that maps pretty closely to my description of wants and needs at the surface. Ask why to get to the underlying root causes, problems, pain points, those things. So this next question is going to be super easy. All right, Ralph, one more follow-up. You're good with follow-ups today. I think, Ralph, you're asking for what are some questions to get people to say their wants? This kind of standard one, like if you had a magic wand, right? What would you change, or how would this work differently to be better for you? Trying to think of other types of questions that I've asked in the past. What's something that it doesn't do for you today, but that you wish it would do for you, right? And then you can dig into asking why. I think it's a lot about giving people the power, empowering people to think about what changes they would make if they had absolute control. Because then we start to get to some specific things. All right. I'm going to answer this real quick before Ralph's got any more follow-ups. What is your Sketch plugin for measuring elements in text? I don't have a Sketch plugin for measuring elements in text. I think that's a really interesting question from Anonymous. Measuring text. Measuring elements. I mean, when there's an element, like I just look at, like, I see it's 1729, 1834. I see this text block is 313, 171. So I just use this, I think it's called the navigator, right? Inspector, rather. That makes more sense. Inspector makes way more sense. But yeah, in terms of like measuring distances, I use the Option key on my keyboard, the Alt or Option key. So I can look at it between things. But yeah, I don't use any special plugin for measuring. I'm wondering what the use case is. That question actually gives me more reason to ask follow-up questions. I wish I could do that in this tool, right? That would be pretty cool. Where, hey Adam, I'm wondering what's your favorite survey tool? Oh, whoops, not that one. Sketch plugin for measuring elements. Oh, that's an interesting question. What are you trying to measure? Ah, okay. I see. So got it. Okay. Well, there's a lesson learned. So yeah, Option key can be used for showing these kind of like positioning things. Yeah, without being able to see like what keys I'm hitting, I'll try to be more thoughtful in saying aloud when I'm doing pressing some keys. But yeah, that's built-in functionality, Matt. It could very well. I mean, it's fairly magic looking, right? So it wouldn't be surprising if that was a plugin. Okay, question time is over. Question time. Done with question time. What's next? Next up, how about a few lightning portfolio reviews? These are going to be really light. What I'm going to do is we're just going to do home pages today. I'm going to look at, I've got some loaded up here that I haven't looked at yet, but are ready. I'm going to click on them, and as quickly as I can, I'm going to identify 3 things that I recommend changing to make the portfolio homepage work harder for the designer, and why. So let's see if I can do that for 4 portfolios before 7 p.m. Let's do it. We're going to start here. Boom. Okay. Jerry De Los Santos, UX designer. Hi there. Bay Area, interesting graphic, featured case studies. Okay. Number 1. Ooh, I see. Oh, good. This is one of my favorite pet peeves. Number 1 change. Get this text out of an image. The problem with this image, and let's actually inspect it. There may be some good alt text on the image. Let's see. Alt text. Oh no. I don't know. Maybe blow this up a little bit. Ooh, that's fun. All right, now let's inspect. Cool. The alt text is Bay Area _v2.jpg. So it's literally when someone with a screen reader comes to this page, they're like, Jerry De Los Santos, UX designer. I think that's in text. Then they see Bay Area v2.jpg instead of I'm a multidisciplinary designer specializing in UX and visual design based in the Bay Area. They miss all that information. So number 1, do not put images in text. Do not put text in images. I almost said that the opposite way. Let me hydrate real quick. Number 2. This is great multidisciplinary UX and visual design. if you're gonna say your specialty is in visual design, make sure your homepage is like, wow, this person has some big visual design chops, some serious visual design chops. I'm not getting this from this. I'm getting like, okay, cool. Like if you did all these little buildings and stuff by hand, like cool, you can use, you know, Illustrator or whatever to some degree. But this doesn't basically like, I kind of cringe to like, but like Dribbble, right? Like Dribbble is just like a whole bunch of like overly highly polished like graphic designers gone wild, right? That's what it could be called, graphic designers gone wild and illustrators, but it's called Dribbble, right? So if it doesn't look like something that's like, whoa, and getting like thousands of little hearts, spend some more time on that, or think about something else that you want to highlight. Number 2, case study. So I'm going to point out actually some good things as well. So I'm not just picking and talking about issues. Let me talk about one couple things I really like. Number 1, the name. You just have someone's name. Cool. One thing that could make this even better, this will be a freebie, doesn't count as my 3. If you have a name like Jerry, which I think is pronounced Jerry, that's how I'm saying it, but who knows? It could be like Gary, depending on, you know, the origin of this name, where it's coming from, could be pronounced different ways. If you have a name that's not common, or people commonly mispronounce your name or ask, how do you pronounce your name? Then think about, is there a fun way you could teach people how to say your name? That's just a little thing. I like that it has UX designer on there. Cool. We like know what this person is, presumably what kind of role they're looking for. I like the fact that they call it they're in the Bay Area. I like that they have text outside the image. It's way too small, right? And you can't click on it. But I don't have to hover over to get the case study stuff. So that's nice. All right. Third thing I would change the headlines. The job sauce case study doesn't tell me anything about this. I have no idea what that is. Bay Alarm medical case study doesn't tell me anything about this. So tell me the news headline. Tell me the impact that this project had. Tell me why you did it and how you did it. Don't just tell me a really like what. So go deeper, get closer to the why, get closer to the impact. Impact and why you did these projects are 100x more important than like what the company's name was. All right, those are the 3 for Jerry site. Boom, moving on. What's next? Oh, what's this? It's like a dark site. Okay, Raphael Dakane. Number 1, text is too small. Increase text size. Make it comfortable to read, right? It's really easy. Here we go. Font size 12 pixels. Wait, it's being overwritten with something. I'm trying to find where the font size is actually being set. I don't actually see it. Here, maybe? Width. Oh, here it is. I see. It's just down below. It's cascading. Oops. Let's go back to the paragraph. Boom. Look at that. How much more friendly is this than... Let's see. I guess I can duplicate it. We can do like this, 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 this. This is way more modern and easy to read. UX Portfolio, Raphael, Greater Los Angeles. He highlighted a few things to scan. Cool. So increase text size in other areas. Number 2. Oh, you know I'm going to say this for pet peeve. Get rid of hover text. This like 1.1 is get rid of the hover text. Get it static so you can read it without hovering over it. And then again, fix those headlines. Make it something meaningful and useful. Not a waiter, hyperloop, artist, and craftsman. I don't know what any of those things are. Bye. I'll go. Number 3. Number 3, I could say get rid of powered by Squarespace, but I'll pick another one just to help out. The third one would be tell more of your story on the homepage. So can you get, what else can you add? Is there something from like an about page? Or maybe actually this one would be like navigation. There's no clear navigation. There's no about page. There's no contact. There's no, yeah, there's nothing to do here except look at these case studies, which is great for funneling, but then what? Then what? All right, next. Okay, number 1 for this one. Get rid of this site was designed with Wix.com website builder. Get your own domain name. So it could be that this person is just starting up and hasn't been sharing this out yet, and it's, you know, great. They're gonna figure out their domain name and get it and fix that all up. But that's number 1. Number 2, this is kind of an odd one, but like don't brand your portfolio website other than yourself. Like just talk about yourself. A design portfolio by Jordan Griffin. Cool. Doesn't need a name. Think about the focus. Think about your audience. Strikes me as kind of as interesting and odd. Something that I forgot. Did I say something that I liked about this one? Something that I like about it is the contrast between the text and the background. They're not using 000 hex code. They're not using full black. They're using a like near black color, and it gives it a fairly modern look with white text. All right, back to this. Something I like, a background image can be interesting. This one's crazy sticky notes. I used to joke about like a flag for a super junior designer is they've got to have photos of sticky notes somewhere on their website. It's like, could be a drinking game, like how many pages every time you see a sticky note, take a drink. And having said that, there is some, you know, texture and interest that you can create with a background image. So I'm not sure if this background image in particular is the most amazing, but I do like exploring texture and adding something beyond just color to the background. Number 2, cool, or Jordan, focusing on like that superpower. So UX UI designer, cool. Commitment to play and candor. What does that mean? Background in fine art and anthropology. So that's kind of interesting. Make it easier to highlight some of these things. So bullets, how do you emphasize your fine art anthropology background? And how does that help you be a stronger UX designer, UX UI designer? Last but not least, if you are showing some data viz, this is visual data from ongoing job hunt, which could be very interesting. I don't know what this is. This just an image of something? This thing is also like not super polished from a visual design standpoint, right? This looks more like early 2000s kind of PowerPoint type stuff. This is not super strong data visualization. So that may not be your strength, and that's fine. But if you're going to be putting something on your homepage, like think about the polish and think about what people's first impression is going to be. Maybe you haven't worked on much data viz, but you're much stronger in this other UI area, right? So what's the action item? The action item is ask, 3 other people, does this look amazing? If you get one, ask not your family, not your mom and dad and brother and sister and all those folks. Ask someone you trust to give candid feedback. Say, is this one of the most amazing things you've ever seen? If one person says no, cool. Go look for some examples, copy and steal some patterns. Go to Dribbble, go to data viz examples and copy those and use those instead, right? Okay, was that 3? I feel like it's 3. And again, call to action. What do you want people to do here? You want them to contact you? Unclear. Okay, 5 minutes, last but not least. Oh, okay, this one's interesting. So this is the minimalist dark on white background. Alexander Taylor, digital experience and interaction designer based in Zurich. What is a digital experience designer? It's, I guess, basically like UX designer, but maybe that's a new, is this trending term? I don't know. Raj, I see your question. Remind me if I don't come back to it after this. All right, 3 things I would do. Oh man, this is it. So the interesting thing is, if Alexander Taylor is a super experienced designer, this could work potentially. I'm just going to see what happens when I do that. No. Only like 2 things. No, never mind. Because often what you'll see is some of the people who are like super experienced, they have the most minimal, they just say like this text thing. Yo, I work at here. I used to work here and here. That's it. Call me. On, text on some background color. That's what they have. So number 1, I would say visuals. Add some sort of visuals. Minimalist style is great. You can still do minimalist and some compelling visuals to get someone excited about exploring the site. That's number 1. Number 2, add a secret sauce. So Alexandra said, kind of, she told us her title, right? Digital experience designer. She told us where she's at. She didn't tell us what is her superpower or secret sauce. What's special? Like, why would I be interested in talking with Alexandra versus, the other 10 interaction designers that I'm considering? So here's, you've got like 5 seconds, 10 seconds to make an impression, leave something memorable. How do you stand out? That's 2. I need to do 3, 1 more. I could do, just checking out the kind of responsiveness. I'm going to do length of homepage. So in my experience, having some meat on the homepage can be valuable because you can tell part of the story. You don't know how much time people have, and scrolling is basically the simplest thing you can ask people to do. So think about pulling some of the key pieces of your story and starting to tell that story on the homepage, and then using the other pages to dive in even deeper into some of those things. So think about what your high-level top story is and tell that on the homepage. All right, that's it. I did it. 2 minutes to spare. All right, I'm just going to hang out here since we've been doing these reviews. You can kind of like look at mine. Raj asked a question. Would you be able to answer a question I have? Of course. You post it in Slido. Oh, okay. Where is it in Slido? Is it the same one you posted in chat there? Happy Friday, Junior Adam. Favorite psychology books? Would you be able to review 2 photos of me? I want to ask which photo to use in portfolio. Yes. Do you have 2 questions? Is Mr. Raj, this must be yours. Favorite psychology books. So in thinking about psychology books for designers specifically, there's Susan Weinschenk. There she is. And I'm going to pop this in chat. I've been a huge fan of Dr. Weinschenk for, 7 or 8 years, ever since I started reading NeuroClick, How to Get People to Do Stuff. There are these great books. I majored in psychology in college, focusing on like social psychology, sensation perception, all that like healthy kind of psychology, behavior stuff, which is super interesting. She does a really killer job of making psychology research findings accessible and actionable for designers. So I just have to keep saying these books here. I'll just keep repeating these books. These are really, I would say, where to start. And if you've read them before, try reading them again. You're going to pick up on something new, or you'll remember something even better. So I'll keep that on the screen. All right, Raj. How can I see your 3 photos? He says, Mr. Raj is looking for things that are non-design related. Well, if you're really interested in psychology, I would look for psychology textbooks are actually a really great place to start. So it's been a few years, a few dozen years since I was in college. And I'm sure the textbooks have been updated and are even cooler. I would just look for social psychology textbook. Let me see if I can find one from the author. Oh, this Aronson one. So I recognize the author right away, Elliot Aronson. So this might be one. 7th edition. I'll just pop this up here. I think social psychology stuff is really interesting. Probably the most interesting, and another place to start. So psychology textbooks. There's another one. It's called IO Psychology. The IO stands for industrial and organizational. And this is the type of psychology that these type of psychologists often work in like HR departments and those kinds of things. So there may be a textbook around that as well that would be really cool. Yeah, it looks like right here there's one. So I'm going to paste this in chat as well. There we go. Those are a couple books if you want to kind of geek out or really dive into a richer understanding of a psychology. Those same textbooks that are available in the university that students are using in university, like you can buy the books. They're sometimes expensive. If you are near, I guess a tip, if you're near a local university, you may be able to find some used copies, or maybe even on Amazon, students who are trying to sell their textbooks. Great place for those. All right. We're waiting on Raj's photos so we can give him some advice on which to use in his portfolio. And while we're waiting for that, I think I'll try to knock out, I'm going to knock out this little mini project. So earlier I talked about Clearbit. You can type in like AngelList, and then you can get a company's logo. And I think that's really cool. Their API just kind of looks at the website and is able to scrape this information. I was just messing around and I was like, oh, I wonder what it shows for mine. And it shows nothing. And then it also, I was like, oh, that's a bummer. But I know how to fix that because I actually did it for UXDesignContest.com, right? There's a little image. And the other thing, I think I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. This is YouTube Stream 4. I'll paste this here and I'll just blow this up really big. Didn't go quite as fast as I was hoping. Some context, this is a favicon, right? It's a green box with AR. I think I'd rather replace that with something like an image of me. I think maybe more useful. So Adam Ralph profile. This is plenty big. Boom. How does this render? I think, what's the size of a favicon? 16 by 16? Is that it? Original size. I'm gonna have to zoom for that. All right. think it's a 16 pixel square. Yes, it is. Great. So (16 pixels square). What's my zoom at now? 76. I should bring in browser for context. Let's grab. Sure. Let's grab all. We'll grab all of it. That's easy. Sketch. Come back. There we go. Paste here. So I'm thinking that this, right, even my little profile picture will be better than just the AR. And then what I can do is I can also have this be that image that comes up when you do a search with Clearbit. So that's going to be my project, my real quick project. So the first thing I need to do, let me just double check favicon. Favicon generator. You make it, blah, blah, blah. Ideal size for favicon. 16 by 16. Must be 16 by 16 or 32 pixels. So you can do 32, huh? 2014. Is there something more recent, like past year? Here it is. Great. The 2019 guide to favicons for nearly everyone in every browser. Fantastic. Brief history. Cool. Standard for most desktop browsers. 32 by 32. Okay, that's good. I didn't know that. Name. And then you can name it with the... It looks like naming it with the size is common. And that you don't actually do 16. Interesting. Okay. Whoops, I'm glad I searched. All right, Raj is sharing some stuff. So let me go back to Chrome and let me open these. Is this going to be all three of them together? All right, you're sent the link. Okay. Which do I prefer and why? And what impression does each photo give? All right, so the one on the left is the one I prefer. Why? Because it makes me think this person is either funny or interesting or they like singing. I don't actually know if this is laughter, singing, or yeah. To me, it looks like laughter or singing. It looks like a happy, fun person. The one on the right, a couple issues with me. The lighting is not as good, right? So you don't see as much of the face, even though this is kind of a more natural context. Also, you have a marker with a cap on. So I'm kind of thinking like, like, is he going to try to draw something with the cap on? It's little details like that. Things I kind of things I like about this one. I think it's a cool, like, designery shirt. So I'm like, ooh, if this pattern shirt was in this photo and then had some more context in the background, that would make it even stronger. Other things that I'll mention, just to say, I think the person, even though this is the same person, I think I'll call this A on the left, B on the right. Person A looks younger than person B. So if you're trying to be perceived as looking older, then the one on the right, to me, looks older. I'm trying to think of what else. Anything else that... Yeah, I think the big thing is for portfolio, I think it's really important to communicate that you are a happy, positive person. And I think that my biggest issue with person B, photo B over here, is it's just too serious. Too serious. Even though it's perfectly natural, right? It's a very neutral, natural setting. For me, it can't compete with the photo A. I don't know. What else do people in chat think? You want to weigh in on Raj's photo? Take more. I like this. I think this should be a new thing. Like crowdsourced voting for portfolio photos. Awesome. All right. I hope that's helpful, Raj. Mr. Raj. Hope that's helpful. Alrighty. What was I doing? Favicon. Cool. So I've discovered that 32 by 32 is actually the size to do it. Cool. And I can show off one of my plugins, right? I talked about that image opt-in plugin. I'm going to export this at 1x. It's blowing up here looking super pixelated. And I'm going to call this favicon 32.png. I think I just call it favicon 32. It'll save as PNG. And I'm going to put this, where am I going to put this? Dropbox, current project, GitHub, images, 2018 refresh. Boom. And I'll show you what the image optim, it just bounced up on the bottom of my screen, and you see it squashed it. So it saved me 15% of the file size, and I'll do it again and it can't squash it anymore. So cool. It's 2 kilobytes. Amazing. All right, that part is done. Now comes the code part. So the first thing that I can do is just upload the favicon. Created new favicon from profile photo. Boom. Boom. Cool, so that should be available now. And the next thing I need to do, I'm actually going to take a peek at the code, the source code, because this is where I have all that stuff, the image. I think it's looking for this, and I'm going to check. Nope, it's not pulling that. Which image is it pulling? Favicon? Is it pulling this? Nope, it's not pulling that. Where is it pulling? Where else am I putting an image? My large image. This is Twitter stuff, author stuff. Huh. Now I'm kind of confused. Where is Clearbit getting this from? Is this just taking a screenshot? Make sure your logo always stays current. Ah, here. Well, it tells you how to do it. Why don't I use this? That would make sense. Ralph asks, how come you update it like this instead of your host server, for example? I like using a, I'm trying to think, like FTP connection. Well, I use this GitHub desktop, Ralph, because GitHub is the host server. Like my websites, I build all my stuff, my personal stuff on and host it on GitHub. So I just use the desktop interface because it's a little easier and faster for me than kicking up a terminal and doing it. So to specify a size, you can do a big one. I see, interesting. So logos you choose will take precedence. So there's a couple things. So I'll change favicon. Let me just clean up my tool over here. Whoa, so much. Okay. I'm gonna paste this thing and I'm gonna comment it out initially because we'll do the favicon thing first. And then actually I probably better work on this client thing. Maybe you can help me with. This is comment for logo for Clearbit API. I'll comment this out for now. Where do I have? I'm not even specifying the favicon. Am I doing that on the? Oh, it sits at the. I think I know what Ralph was asking about. I think the favicon sits at the root level. Let me just check. I think you can specify in HTML. Specifying favicon HTML. So you can use this. We'll try it. We'll try it here. This is the favicon. Boom. And it's gonna be adamruff.com/images. Oh man, where's the GitHub thing again? I can look in the history. Where did I put it? Images / oh, should I copy this? Copy file path. Aha. Wonderful. And get rid of this. And I should be able to test it. Yes, there it is. Fantastic. Back to the code. Replace this with that. And then let's preview it. Haha, look at that. So we can see it. I don't know if you can see it that easily on the screen. I'll take a little screenshot. Back to Sketch. Paste it here so you can zoom in. I was testing it. Yes, there it is. Cool. So I can just plop that on all my pages and I'll do the server thing later because that's going to be me doing two-factor authentication with my phone and just not great streaming. Okay, so about contact. Oh, come on, get out of my way. Whoop. And portfolio. Put it after the meta thing there. Hooray. Hooray. Oh, interesting. This one has author. The other one doesn't have author. Does it? Description. Might as well add that in too then. I don't know that that's super useful, but it doesn't hurt, right? Index, do I have author? No. Cool. Now these should all be updated and have the new favicon. So, go back here. I made these changes. Right? Added favicon. Added new favicon to main pages. Push. And now I should be able to I don't see it here. Got some caching going on. Clear that cache. Clear that cache. There we go. Just popped up. Fantastic. So that if I refresh the page now, boom, now it's me. Let's see. Boom. There's a little bit of flash, right? Because I think to Ralph's question, I didn't set it on the server as this. I have it basically like overriding. So I can clean up the code, have less code by just putting that at the root level in the server. Nice. Now I'll be hanging out in your tabs if you go to my site. Just what you always wanted, right? Actually, it could be really interesting. This may, hey, can we start a trend? Can we say, anyone who's listening, if you've got a portfolio site, try putting your profile image in there, and then we can get a bunch of like people popping up. Wouldn't that be cool? See if we can start a trend. It's about you, right? It's about your work and your sites for you. Cool. All right. 7:23. Let's dive into this side project that I've been working with the engineer on. I played badminton with him, although I haven't been playing in a while. That's probably the biggest thing I'm excited about, getting my splint off my wrist finally, is going back and playing badminton, going back to class and playing games again on Fridays. All right, and I see there's some feedback, so I've been kind of iterating on these tools. Working with the Whimsical. Whimsical is this really lightweight wireframing tool that I'm using. I'll post a link in chat in case you want to check it out. And I want to see what the feedback is. Top action items of feedback are, we need a general search. Okay, I'm going to start numbering these. Okay, we need a search, general search and filter function at the top to find either arbitrary member or file or US worker or blah, 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 blah. Okay. One filter on the general search might be just searching within your own cases. Okay, so setting scope. A filter for user, a filter for user. I'm gonna duplicate this and I'm gonna translate it into, okay, here we go. 1, add general search and filter at the top to find arbitrary member or file or US or foreign worker, blah, blah, blah. Okay. 2. Add a user, a current user select element. So a CM, just case manager, can easily do a task for someone else if they're out of office. That makes sense. What is this? Is that a little checkbox? No, I see. Oh, it's part of the border of this element. In the tasks due in X days, tasks due right here, tasks due today. Okay. There should be a way to filter so that it is only a window. Oh, I see. Like it's due today. This I think. Task due in 1 day, 14 days, 20 days. Should be able to set the scope of like task due today, task due this week, task due in 3 days, that kind of thing. All right, that's cool. So 3 will be add ability to set the scope for task due section. Today, 2 days, 3 days, week, this week, 10 days. Cool. That window would apply to all the task filters. Ah, interesting. Oh, so maybe there is still a task due today section. And then there is a filter. I think this is one possibility, 3A. I think another possibility is 3B. Add filter for showing only tasks due within a given time window. There we go. I think it's always going to be helpful to know tasks due today. I think having those hidden down below or somewhere else isn't going to make sense. So we'll look at adding that other filter. All right. Okay, cool. So this project is really about enhancing people's productivity and efficiency. Raj is going to sleep. Sweet dreams. Hope you have a restful night's sleep and hope to see you next week. Bye, Mr. Raj. Alrighty. Let's add general search. Top of find arbitrary filter. Okay, till top. Alright, so let's do this. I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to add a general search. So let's see, I think I can add, what is it I can add? I can add an icon, search icon, this magnifying glass, and add a comment. No, not a comment, I want to add text. Add text. Can I add inline text? No, I can't. Okay, there's gotta be a way to do this. How do I do this one? What's this? Is this just text with an icon? search. And then there's gotta be a way to add an icon. No, it's just a group. Okay. Well, that's easy too, I guess. Search. Boom. Small purple, small purple, small purpley. 16. Make that purple as well. How's that for spacing? Visually, it feels a little off, huh? Search is going to be down here by your name. Should we put it in an input? Actually, I'm going to put it more over here by the menu. This one doesn't have the nice spacing tool. But I can do this. There we go. Good enough. Okay, added search. Very simple. And filter to find a member or file or US worker or foreign worker. I don't think it needs filtering. I think if you can search for to find an arbitrary member or file or some worker. So what we can do though, we can be more specific. Find member, file, or worker. Search members, file, numbers, workers. So we can make the search more powerful and more helpful than instead of just saying search, we actually tell the user what they can search. Oh, cool, I can search members, I can search file numbers, I can search workers. More useful. Okay, cool. I think we knocked off this one. Can I add? No. What do I do with this one? I will, nope. It affects the whole text block. I know what I can do. We'll do something like, let's get an icon that's like a check mark. How about this guy? And we'll do this, and we'll do this, and I'll make it green. Boom. All right, done with that one. Add a current user select element so a case manager can easily do a task for someone else if they are out of office. So there's a couple ways we could do that potentially, right? One is we could make this case manager name a select menu, right? Where they click it and then they can pick one of their coworkers and actually access their view of their tasks. That's one way that we could do it. Another way that we could potentially do it is by building onto our filters and saying, hey, show me only the tasks associated with so-and-so. I think it's going to be a lot more straightforward to pick things from the top. I'm trying to think of what are the concerns or what problems does that potentially create. So if I'm Sarah, case manager, and I'm going to help out John, who's out of office today. If I switch to John's, I will see John's task due today, and I might forget my own task due today. That's one concern. Concerns about having it down here. You may forget, so you may see these are my things. You forget that the filter is there, and then you're confused about where your stuff is. So if it was a filter here, it would have to be super explicit. So maybe outside of these filtering, something specific that would say, you know, so-and-so's tasks. Okay. All right, well, why don't we just mock up both of those ideas, and then we can have the clients weigh in. Have I duplicated this thing like a billion times? And it's... I think it froze on me. You can do it! You can do it, Whimsical! Chrome, you need more power. Oh, that's not good. All right, let's reload it. We'll see where we left off. Hopefully, everything was auto-saved. Waiting, waiting. Oh, where's my funny waiting scene? Waiting, waiting. Still hasn't loaded yet. Wonder if it's a site down. I guess one of the caveats and challenges about using a web-based tool, right? What is going on? All right, let's try nice hard refresh. Come on. Still waiting. All right, might have to switch gears. Might have to switch gears. You can wait for them to become responsive or exit the pages. All right. This doesn't look like it's down. That's good. Please. Oh, nice. So it did save some stuff. Great. All right, cool. We can pick it up. I just want to duplicate this once more. And then we've got these two strategies. So the first one I talked about was creating a drop down like this. And can it have an icon? This is going to be case manager name. And there it is right there. Delete that. I'm gonna bust it out of this group. How do I bust it out of the group? Ungroup, like that. And let's see, can I add a bunch of spaces here and pack this in a really... That's not what I want to do. In the front, yes. I'm gonna group these together. And there's basically my idea. Cool. Super gets the point across. It's could use a little more spacing between the avatar, huh? What size is the avatar also? All right, that looks a little better. Boom. Cool, this is idea 1. So, oh no. I did my Command R for renaming the layer. That's the shortcut for renaming the layer in Sketch. But of course, in a browser, Command R is refresh the page. Okay, so that's this one. Concept C.3. C.3a. User selector, multi-user select pattern. Okay, and then I'm actually going to copy that so I can. This is going to be C.3b. This is going to be a multi-user select pattern alternate. Alt multi-user select pattern. Cool. And for that, I think we'll do basically the same thing. Let's just copy this guy. The nice thing about working at this fidelity is you're just working on concepts, so you can have things be pretty janky. Nothing needs to be polished or super clean visually. Filter by keyword. And this one is probably going to be the most important in terms of information hierarchy. So I'm going to have this on left because this is for people working in the US. We read from left to right. So I'm going to have that. Cool. That's that. I think that's done. And then next, add the ability to set the scope for tasks due section. Today, this week, this could be 2 things, or add a filter for showing only tasks due within a given time window. I don't think 3A actually makes any sense. I think it's really about 3B. So I think I want to use this and come up with another filter set. So this is a filter for tasks due. Task stage, and then task due date. So it's not going to have this. Maybe we'll use some other language. Only show tasks that are due, and then we can use these labels. Today, 3. This week, 19. This month, 37. Maybe we do a custom one. State is disabled. Let's have it be normal. Custom, and then I know. For custom, we're not going to have a label because we're going to have an input field. We're going to combine a couple things. All right, let's. Whoop. There we go. Okay. And then we'll put an input. The input is going to be, it's going to be a number picker. It could be a slider, but it's going to be, I think we'll just use text input. And we'll just have this default of like 10. And then we'll use a text element here that says days. Size small. Let's be in line. How does that look? Nice. State normal. It's not a placeholder. There we go. Ralph's asking if his discussion guide questions are similar in wording for different projects. Is it bad? I usually use a template and add in whatever the topic is about for a discussion guide. I think that sounds great. I'm a huge fan of templates, Ralph. So if that's helping you save time, where you have some structure for your discussion guide and you found something that works well and you just are swapping whatever is unique to the situation, that sounds great. I don't see I don't see any red flags or concerns about that if your discussion guide questions. Where are these discussion guide questions appearing in? I guess the one thing I can think of is if there are these discussion guide questions for different projects and they're all together and it looks like a lot of repeated text, that could be a challenge that you want to address in a different way. But assuming these are something that you only see within the context of a project, like here are discussion guide questions, they're scoped to this project, you see it there, boom. You look at a different project, you have discussion questions, cool. Where you're not seeing them on the same screen or page. I think that sounds great. I'm also curious to see what is your discussion guide question template? They are separate. Cool. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of templates. Only show tasks that are due. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this one normal. I'm going to put this week selected. There we go. This month, rather. Some questions you borrow from another template, and some are just good questions a lot of designers usually recommend. Awesome. You're actually sharing a lot for other designers. This is one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give is before you start something, see if someone else has done something similar that you can build off of. You can save yourself a lot of time. I think that's one of the great things about design community sharing is we can build off of one another's experiences and help each other out. So good on ya. Kudos. All right, and then I should show an example. So this one has this month. This month would be, I wonder if it should be, instead of this week, this month, I wonder if it should be next 7 days, next 30 days. Whatever. Again, these are like high level concepts. That's cool. I think I can share these and be good with that. Nice. So that's saved. I guess I will, since we have time, let's do this one last thing as well. And oh yeah, I need to label this. This is ability to filter tasks by deadline window. That's that. I'm just going to say multi-user select pattern A. simplify this a little bit. Ability to switch to a different CM's dashboard, pattern A, and ability to switch to different CM's dashboard, pattern B, and then there's that ability to filter tasks, and then shoot, I keep doing my sketch shortcut. Alright, it just doesn't take that long to load. It loads pretty quickly. That's pretty nice. Alright, just double click. Ability to set the constraints for tasks due today section. All right, so that's up here, tasks due. I think we can have a simple drop down. All right, and we can put today. We can have it be small. And we can have it sit on top of this. Huh, that'll actually, I'm trying to get the font size to match up. That's small, too small, and then this one, it's kind of interesting. Add label. No, don't add label. Anything else I can do with it? I think that works. This is concept. Cool. That's done. All right. Only have 8 minutes left to go. What to do next? Oh, let's see what happens. I'm curious. Now that I added a explicit fav icon, did it show anything else? No. I wonder how the other one is getting scraped. So interesting. I'm curious. Let's look at some other. I know these aren't companies, and it's like it's not really a valid use case, but just curious to see who else might have one. Team W. Team W. Never load up an assets folder loaders again. Call the API. Get everything you want. Free with link attribution. Alright. Nah, I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm like more happy that I just got the fav icon changed. Should change there too. Oh, interesting. Why didn't it change there? Huh. Gives you the system one. All right. Any other question that got upvoted? Let's do one last question. Hopefully Matt's still around. Matt, I'm going to get to your question here. I'm going to try to do the... How can I improve my visual design skills? So this is something that I've worked on quite a bit in the past, and I think the easiest thing to do that I found is just steal and copy, and as far as like patterns. So for example, my website, a lot of things I started was I got inspiration like around buttons. My buttons are inspired by Stripe. You may notice some similarities in terms of shadows and things. Actually, where did the shadows go? The shadows look really faint. Oh yeah, I can see it. I think my monitor's just a little bit washed out. What other things? Card patterns, like seeing other cards. And even here, there are things like this. You could probably do something to make this look a little bit cleaner. It's fairly clean and minimalist. But my previous website looked a lot less consistent with visual design. So I mean, simple things are like go to Dribbble and like find something cool. Let's what pops out at me. Here's something. Task Manager app. So I'm literally just going to copy this image. I'm going to go to Sketch. And I'm going to say, what's something I like about this? I like these really roundy cards, let's say. So I'm going to trace, right? Tracing is another thing. It's like designer trace. Okay. And I could look at, honestly, if I'm like doing this in code, I would look at the code, but start here, and then you start to get a sense of like, how round is too round? How round is not round enough? Okay, it looks like around 20. Okay, that's interesting. Then Then I will hit 5 on my number 5 to make it semi-transparent, and then I start putting in some really big text and say, wow, that text is really big. How can I match it up? Let me try a different font. Let me try Poppins. So, okay, it's interesting. It looks like the letters are closer together. Maybe I could squeeze the letters closer together as well. That might look nice. We'll see. And then I see there's some other text below there. And it's smaller. What is it? June 6, 2019. And it's even smaller than that. But it's also not so bold. Right, so you kind of get a sense of, oh yeah, these things are aligned. And let's see, how much space is in between here? Let's group this. All right, and then you can say, oops, did I group these things? This didn't get in my group for some reason. There we go. I've got my group. Now, this is a pretty cool color. Let's use Control C rather, bring up my eyedropper. Say, I noticed a few things. Number 1, this is white. Number 2, this is not white. It looks like it's somewhat transparent. So play with the tools, kind of drop it down. I might check accessibility, right? This is the opportunity to accessibility contrast. Oh, no borders. And then I might say, I noticed something different. Like the color doesn't look exactly the same. There's something going on here. It looks like there's a light source kind of shining down here. That's interesting. How would I do that? Maybe an inner shadow? Can I do an inner shadow? Would that work? I did something from the top. What does that look like? Not really the same, huh? All right, what else could I do? Not shadow. Maybe I could do a gradient. A circular gradient. Ah, this is kind of looking more like it. We can drop the alpha down on the color. And you say, it's still not as scattered. So how do I really make that more scattered? I really gotta stretch it out more. It's starting to feel like that a bit, right? And then you can start comparing them. So like, oh, what's off a little bit? Like that gradient isn't quite there, right? It's still got a little bit of a hard edge. So there may be multiple things going on to do that. And then it's like, oh, this is interesting. There's some texture here. There's these little circles. That's pretty neat. If I add some circles, I can do that too. And then you're playing around with like the colors. And they look almost a little pink, huh? So maybe this and shifted into the pink spectrum. Interesting, right? You're just playing with stuff. Say find stuff that you want to do and try to reverse engineer and rebuild it. So you start learning these little toolkits and just really focusing on like all the little details that make up something that looks very visually appealing. I mean, there's huge problems with this. Like even the stuff that looks visually appealing, this doesn't meet accessibility requirements. Like if I'm a little bit hard of seeing, I'm probably not going to be able to read that. A lot of this stuff is like way too light and washed out. So there's other things that you'll learn as you're going through. Cool. I like that question. And it was kind of fun to play around with that. That is how to level up on visual design. Do a bunch of stuff. Practice. There's also what's the website? Refactoring UI. This is a good resource for a lot of like UI and visual design tips. So I'll share this with you too, Matt. I think this is a good one. So thinking about asking yourself, how might I use fewer borders? How might I replace borders with fills? How might I overlap images to add depth? How might I think outside the database? So view all. There's all these design tips that they post in Twitter that are good. This versus this. Too many borders. Make your icons slightly larger than text for inactive states. Using a generic icon like an arrow or check mark instead of a standard bullet is a great way to add visual interest. Boom. So this is a great one. To bookmark, and I see it's 8:05 and it's time for me to start prepping dinner. So I'm going to sign off for tonight. I hope you've had fun and hopefully got something out of this. I should say, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, I got to get better about asking people to do that so that we get more subscriptions and we unlock new features on YouTube. Got to build up the audience again after switching over from Twitch. Have a great rest of the week, a fantastic weekend, and I hope to see you next week. Have a good night, everyone.